Alright. Alright, hey, what's up everyone? It's Awesome Game Replays, episode number 20. We're back with some awesome game replays. In fact, we do have awesome ones in the replays of racing games. We're talking about racing games on Awesome Game Replays today. And we got a bunch of different time attack videos and some various videos of mostly arcade-style racers. A lot of them were in arcades. So we'll be focusing on those type of racers. No Gran Turismo here, but maybe another time. And in this episode, guest hosted by Nasty Wolverine. Hey, what's up, Nasty?
Hey, guys.
And also, the guest of this episode is Ghegs, returning to the show. What's up, Ghegs?
Hi, everybody.
Yep, so racing games. You guys had this idea built up for a little while for us to do a racing game episode. So why do we need to show racing games on Awesome Game Replays? What do you love about racing games, and kind of how did you guys get started playing them? Either of you can start, I suppose.
I had played racing games for a long time, but I didn't really realize that I really liked them until I played Outrun Online Arcade, like, when was it released? 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then it just kind of hit me that this is really fun, and this is really fun to time attack. And then I started time attacking games that I had played previously, just in the career mode or something, like Bunout 2 and others.
So your first game, you said Outrun was the first one you played?
Yeah, well, seriously, like a time attack game, the Outrun Online Arcade, the 360 PS3 game.
That's the 3D one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of a remake of Outrun 2.
And did you say you kind of displayed them casually in the arcades up until that point?
Well, actually, I had never played them in arcades because there are really no arcades in Finland.
Okay.
Arcade-style racers, yeah, like Burnout 2. I had gone through the career mode several times, but I didn't really start time attacking it until later.
No arcades in Finland, man. What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah, there are kind of sometimes you can find them in amusement parks or something, but very few.
Yeah. Occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Nasty Wolverine. What about you? What's
For
your
me,
story?
it was. I'm not sure, like most people have played it. There's a game called Road Fighters on the NES. So that was my first experience with the races, and that's something completely different. It's 2D over top view, and that's nothing like the races that I play today. But there was the other one called F1, which was like for NES. It was like pretty high quality. But there is another racer. It's not here in this playlist today that we have, but there is another F1 racer which is pretty great. Ghegs introduced me to it. People can look that up. Ghegs, if you can just say the name of that one? The one on the Famicom?
The F1 Hero.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So
nobody knows it, but it's the best racing game on the NES.
Yep.
Really?
I played the F1, the normal one that I'm pretty sure like everyone has at least seen once. Someone play it or play it themselves. So I was like, into it. I was not like really that serious. When I got serious was when I got my PS2 and Burnout Revenge for it. That was my first arcade-style racer. I had played NFS2 before, but I was not really that into it. That's when I like started, after playing Revenge, I started like going for, gotta be faster. And that's when I got into the whole racing thing. I've been playing like Bunout Revenge for years and years and years right now. It's not a game that everybody likes. I do agree that it has an issue with like a lot of quantity over quality versus the previous Burnout games. But since it's my first Burnout game, I like it quite a lot.
So Burnout was kind of the series you said that got you to time attack, like almost like time attacking then?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's the appeal of the time attacking in a racing game? Obviously, a racing game. I mean, you're trying to go fast, right? It is the speedrun game. Is it just mastering the turns and all that gets addicting?
Yeah, kind of. I like the feeling of speed good arcade racers give, and you can in most arcade racers you take the corner sideways, drifting or whatever, and it just feels really good when you nail a drift just perfectly, and it's just really great.
I know when I first played Outrun Online Arcade, that 3D one, like the drifting is so like exaggerated in that game. Like the car turns like completely sideways when you're drifting almost. And I thought like that was like really like good feedback like to the player, like that you know that you're kind of like you're taking the turns like kind of aggressively and that type of thing. But it kind of varies from game to game, doesn't it?
Yeah, some games have a more ridiculous drifting mechanic, but it can still be fun and challenging.
Yeah.
I see what you're gonna say something there. Yeah.
Yeah, for like time attack is very similar to like score attack and shmups, but the thing is that what we do is mostly we pick a track that we love, pick a car that we love, and we just try to go as fast as possible. And it's mostly something comparable would be executing a chain, a stage-long chain in DDP, a Dodonpachi. So you have to be like pixel perfect. Your control of the car has to be like absolutely perfect to execute the drifts, the turns, and everything. And the thing is that once you hit brake, the car slows down, so you have to take that into account. Quite a lot of different factors, and when you start drifting, if you graze the side rails or something, the car slows down as well. So you have to be extremely perfect to get that perfect time. So it's more like learning a chain in Dodonpachi. That's the comparable thing I can say about it.
Yeah, they're kind of similar in ways, shmups and racing games. You're trying to find the optimal way through a stage.
Yeah, and you're pretty much routing it out too. Like you're memorizing the turns and how to do each one slightly differently, and then remembering all of that and putting it together. It's kind of like doing a shmup run too, or even just like a speed run of like a platformer even or something like that. And that's kind of the theme that we see, and that's why we like challenging ourselves with various games. That it really is what the show STG Weekly and Awesome Game Replay is all about. So naturally, we got to have the racing games represented, right?
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that's important distinction from shmups is that when you play a full run of a shmup, it's usually like 30, 40, 50 minutes, and it's kind of a long time. But when you're time attacking a single course, it's like maybe a few minutes. So it's easy for you to just play 10 minutes of it, and that's it. Or you can easily expand it to 60 minutes or way more, and you can stop at any time, and you will only lose that 1, 2, 3 minute progress that you're currently on. That's a good point.
You can tend to just focus on just one track basically, and you can do that for a long time.
Yeah, it's really good if you're a busy person with not much time to game. You can just grab 10 minutes here and there and still have many full runs in there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we do have a lot of different replays that we're going to be looking at from various games. I think more than a few. You guys got a nice little playlist set up for us, and I assume we're gonna kind of take a look at these replays, and you guys are gonna kind of talk about the game itself and maybe how the mechanics differ from each other. What did you guys have planned for as we're going through this?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And, see the replays, talk about it while the replays are going or after it, and discuss what's playing good about the game, what's bad about the game.
So I think we'll get a good feel of the arcade racers after this is over, and it should be awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see all these different games. We got a bunch of them. Okay, so let's get prepared for the first video, which is going to be for the game Flatout. You guys want to talk a little bit about Flatout here before we jump in?
Well, this is my run, so I guess I should say something. Well, actually, my favorite Flatout game is the second one, or the HD remake, Ultimate Carnage. But for some reason, Flatout 2 doesn't have a time attack mode at all. So I went to the first game for time attacking, and I don't think it's as well known as the sequels.
Yeah, what's this? What's Flatout? Is that just a straight arcade game, and are you playing a port, or what's the deal here?
This is the PC game. It was never released in arcades.
Okay.
But it's kind of like an arcade style, but it doesn't have outrun style drifting or anything like that. But you do slide around through corners, but mostly because you're racing on gravel most of the time.
I see.
This does have vehicular combat, if I remember right.
No, it doesn't. Unless you smash yourself into another car.
Okay, I'm remembering a different game completely. Metalhead or something similar. Because I have never played Flatout. I've seen videos of it, but I've never really experienced the Flatout thing. No, wait. The other one I was thinking was Twisted Metal. So that's more like,
Yeah, that's a pure combat game. I don't even count it as a racing game because
there is no racing in that at all.
Yeah, the winner is the one who kills the other people most, and not the one who gets the goal the fastest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but this one, Flatout, is a pure racing game.
Awesome. Okay, well, suppose we can jump into it, and you can try to commentate your run and tell us a bit about this game, and let's go from there.
Yeah, I'll try.
All right, I'll do a countdown. It's gonna be a countdown: 3, 2, 1, go. Countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
The sequels also have better music.
So right off the bat, I noticed you're in first person in this game. Can you do third person in this, or?
Yeah, you can. It really, with me, it varies what camera I'm using. Depends on the game and maybe even the car. It's just what gives me the best feeling, where I'm in the most control.
So you'll switch between first and third person from the various games, just depending on how it feels. For me, like, I always felt more natural on the third person, personally. But that's interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't really know what it's about. It just whatever feels the best.
It's the same for me as well, because I prefer the third person. But the thing is about some games, it just feels more easier to control when you're in the first person. There are a few games that you would actually want to be in the first person. So you'll see us switching in different playlists using different third person, first person views. But I don't think so anyone is using the inside the car thing. I don't know what's that called. Behind the steer wheel view. I don't think so we have that.
I don't think many arcade style racers even have that.
Yeah.
Do you ever prefer it when you can see like the steering wheel and everything like that?
Honestly,
no, not really.
Honestly, for me, what happens is it blocks us too much of the road.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody's probably going to say, but it's not realistic. Well, no, it's not. But these usually aren't very realistic games to begin with.
Gotcha. So why don't you guys talk about like some of like the kind of the basic ideas behind just, normal racing gameplay and how to take the turns and the shifting and that type of stuff.
Okay, the first thing that anyone who wants to play arcade races should do is go watch Initial D, because that thing is extremely realistic in the way it depicts the handling of the cars, because most of the techniques that are used in Initial D are actually taken from real racing, and they all apply in the games that we actually play.
So you're talking about like an Initial D when they have the camera they have like the camera fucking like on like them hitting the brake and stuff like that. I've seen Initial D a little bit myself, and you can actually learn from that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Well, it's really. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ghegs. Okay, so.
I kind of messed up here. Yeah, sorry, you go on.
Okay, so generally those brake shifting techniques and everything, those are from real things. So you'll see us doing things called the power slide drift thing, which is just hitting your brakes and turning into a corner, which is like the worst way you can do it. Then you have things like the Scandinavian flick or four-wheel inertia drift and everything. Those are little advanced techniques where in order to get your drift on, you actually turn away from the corner, then you brake, and then you turn back into the corner. No, wait. You turn away from the corner, you turn in then, and then you brake and you let your inertia make you drift across while
So
counter steering all the way through.
I see. So you're flicking the backside of the car essentially into the opposite direction by doing that, and that's what initiates it.
Yeah, so those are like the two techniques. There are many more ways you can do it. Most of it you'll actually just pick up from playing the games themselves. And the other things you can just pick up from watching Initial D.
But it does differ from game to game,
Yeah, absolutely.
as we'll see.
Some games have techniques that have nothing to do with reality, but they're still fun and challenging to execute, like in Daytona USA or the Initial D arcade games.
Oh, this is cool.
Even
Showing a replay.
Outrun is not very realistic in that way, I think, because you can just like drift across the entire stretch.
Yeah, not really. I was mentioning that earlier. The Outrun online arcades drifts are so ridiculous.
Yeah, but the way you initiate them by just quickly downshifting and upshifting again, and it's and the way your control over the drifts is, of course, unrealistic.
The downshifting thing, that is also a real technique used by, like, it's used mostly in D1GP and stuff like that. It actually lets your wheels go into a low rotation thing, which makes them break traction and lets you drift.
True.
What is actually happening when you downshift to initiate a drift? Like, it seems like you kind of explained it there, but it's, I mean, it's what is it doing to on the car?
Yeah, so when you're downshifting, what you do is you actually have to like match your acceleration RPMs to the wheels. Then when you downshift, you want it to be at a lower rotation than what it was initially. So the wheels actually start rotating, but they're slower than how fast the car is moving, so it breaks traction there.
Whoa, that's hard to follow.
Yeah, basically what you're doing is instead of locking up the wheel, you make it turn slower than how fast the car is going.
So
You
you're
just-
trying to match the speed to what the speed of the lower gear is with when you initialize the drift. Okay, that kind of makes sense then.
To commentate a bit on the current run, you can see how the car is slowly going apart. And if you pick some lighter car, it'll actually be on fire by the time you finish.
So why do you like Flatout as a racer?
It's got a nice sense of speed, and it's got some good courses. This is one of the harder courses to time attack. A lot of corners to mess up on. Like you can easily just fly outside the course if you're not being careful.
I know there's we got a lot of replays, and I feel like it's like I kind of want to watch your replay again here and hear a little bit more about it. But we do have a lot of stuff to get through, so we'll just have to like kind of touch on different subjects as we go through these replays.
Yeah,
will be the nature of this. So that was cool to see, and I like that you have the replay here. That was cool to see. I like that the hood falling off was pretty funny there. Okay, so we're gonna move on then to the next game, which is Bunout 2 Time Attack, and this looks like this was a video published by you as well, Ghegs.
Yeah. Bunout 2 was one of the first games I started time attacking seriously. Well, how seriously I ever did it, but it's a fun game. Everybody knows it. But I think the 2 was one of the last games in the series where it was mostly about the racing, or more about the racing. Afterwards, the crashing and the crash mode started becoming more prevalent.
Right.
Yeah, Paradise was a huge disappointment for me because I played then I played Dominator. Dominator is much more racing focused. It's I don't think so it even had the crash mode. It was just mostly races completely. But it was only released on the PS2 and the PSP. PSP version sucks. Don't try that because you can barely see anything coming towards you. The PS2 version was pretty good. But Paradise, what happened with it is they went all NFS, open world, challenges, and it just ruined the entire thing.
So what's the distinguishing thing about racing in Burnout then?
Well, Burnout has a boost mechanic, and you could collect boost by drifting and not hitting cars, but being really close to them when you pass, and things like that.
Okay, that's the Burnout bonuses, and I see the bottom left. That's your boost there.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Let's watch the replay.
Yeah, although the tracks in Burnout 2 have civilian traffic on them, which is kind of a pain when you're time attacking because it's not completely random, but it's like the game chooses from a pool of preset patterns. And sometimes when you go through a corner, there might be a car, there might not be a car, or there might be a truck. So you can't always take your favorite line or the best line. You just kind of have to be prepared for anything.
Do some of the games with the civilian cars have more RNG or less RNG then, or is it always different?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
In this game, there is a cheat mode that disables traffic completely, and that's pretty fun too. You can just time attack without worry.
I see. Okay, let's watch the replay then. So this is for the Ocean Sprint track. I think that's right. And all right, 3, 2, 1, go.
The other thing distinguishing about Burnout is the sense of speed. It's mostly camera trickery that makes you feel that way, but like for pure like how speed looks at, they exaggerated a lot. That's not how like real life 200 kmph would look like, but still. But when it comes to the graphics and the way it makes you feel, for me that's one of the most distinguishing thing about Burnout.
The high speed feel, nice.
Yeah.
And here you can see there's a great parallel to shmups we talked about earlier. You can chain these boosts together, and you get a Burnout times 3 methods whenever you boost it, and the number keeps growing and growing, and it's possible to go through these tracks using being constantly on the boost.
Do you get more boost as you get the chain bigger or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
The chain
it's
is for
mostly
score?
It's not really for score as well, but you just want to be on boost. You don't want to turn off boost at all.
So it's kind of encouraging the fact just to keep doing it.
Yeah, it has some outside of the game unlocks. Generally, mostly it's trophies. 10 chaining 10 boosts together for this track unlocks a trophy in the game. But for the time attack, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is you don't get off boost at all. You earn it by grazing cars close but not hitting them, drifting across, driving on oncoming traffic, which Ghegs is doing here.
Yeah, the first person driving into traffic, like that seems like kind of masochistic to me.
Yeah, for this game actually first person makes much sense because you want as much as possible on the screen to see where the traffic is.
It helps for the visibility. Dang.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a fantasy, Ghegs, of just driving into head-on traffic after playing a lot of Burnout 2 Time Attack?
No, I don't, but I don't actually drive in real life, so I'm not sure what I would do if I would ever get behind a real wheel.
Don't let him drive. It's funny.
Yeah, that's the very weird thing about Ghegs because he loves racing games so much, but he doesn't drive IRL.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that, though. Once again, they got the cool replay.
Yeah,
most of these games have very cool replays.
Perfect for awesome game replays.
Yep.
Cool. Do we have some more Burnout videos as well? Oh yeah, we do. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we got another one after this too. So Burnout 2.
That is.
Would you say it's you prefer like one of the preferred burn? Yeah, like you said, it was more focused on the racing. Yeah, so.
Yeah, out of the whole Burnout series, it's my favorite.
Oh, cool. And what console is, or what are you playing this on?
I played this on PS2, but it's also on GameCube and the original Xbox.
Cool. I suppose we should touch a little bit on like the using like wheels, peripherals, and that type of stuff. Do you care for the wheel peripherals or anything like that, or how's that work for you guys?
Well, I do actually have 3 wheels, one for PC, one for Xbox 360, and one for PS2.
Nice.
But it really depends on the game if I'm using it. I have played some Burnout 2 with the wheel, but it's okay. But the normal DualShock works just as fine.
The Burnout series is more about going fast than techniques. So most of the time attacks and all, you can just like hit brake and just turn into a turn most of the time. It's not very demanding in terms of techniques. It's more demanding of keeping your line and making sure you don't hit anything at all, and making sure that you have the boost chain going.
Right. So you don't need a wheel or anything to have fun, then, pretty much.
Ghegs is an analog purist. He would prefer analog over digital always. Most of the times.
Most of the time, yeah, but that's not completely true. But when I started playing Hydro Thunder Hurricane on the PC, I used the D-pad for that, and it was great. It felt really good, better than with analog controls.
Whatever works best, I suppose, at the time.
Yeah.
It seems like is the kind of the rule of thumb there.
Yeah. There are some people who play... sorry.
No, for me, it's mostly D-pads because I started with D-pads and I'm very used to it, but I want to make a switch to analog, and we're probably going to talk about it a little later, the Negicon at some point.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to Burnout Revenge then. Next video.
I think Ghegs was saying that a lot of people just play on D-pads and they can actually get pretty good times on D-pad.
Yeah.
Times which we like very hard on analog, they get it on D-pads easily.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really amazing, I think.
So sometimes having that precision is the way to go.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
so I think we can start the revenge run.
Okay. We're moving on then. We'll just jump right into it then.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
So nothing much changes from the previous Burnouts to here. The only difference is the graphics are updated. Revenge is considered the black sheep of the family because it introduced a crash thing, crash event, which is just you take your car, crash into a lot of traffic and kill as many people as you can. Literally, that's it. That's like at least 1/4 of the game is that.
Kill people.
And there are a lot of, you just blow up cars. That's about it. Yeah, then they went a little more quantity than quality on it, but there are still a few quality tracks on it. The one I'm playing is one of my favorites. And the graphics in this are crazy. I'm recording this at probably 4,500 kbps and it still looks like shit.
Well, it's
the same concepts. Yeah, same concepts apply from the previous Burnout. You drift, you chain your drifts and chain oncoming. You earn boost off all of that, and you never let go of boost unless and until you absolutely need to.
Always boost is the tip for Burnout Revenge.
Any Burnout game, actually.
Yeah.
And that's really it to it. Otherwise, like, look at this. Doesn't it look awesome? The speed, the need for speed. It actually gives you better Need for Speed than the Need for Speed series. Most of the techniques are really forgiving in this. All you have to do is like the basic drift you can execute is turn in, start tapping brake, and you'll just drift.
Okay, simply just tap the brake and that's it.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's not that demanding in terms of techniques. But most of the time, you would want to stay on the road. The thing is, like, as soon as you get off the road, you start slowing down. So you have to navigate, and you have to keep your line so it doesn't go off the road at all. And there are some jumps that you'll have to execute to keep the boost meter filled. Other than that, it's just going fast. That's it. And this game has I love the OST of this game.
Yeah, I was just worrying about hopefully the Twitch VOD doesn't get muted and all that. It doesn't matter, but I'm recording it.
This is from the originally. This is originally from Twitch. It's one of my VODs actually.
One of your what? Oh, your VODs. Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah, this is me playing.
Okay, gotcha. We're good.
Yeah, you can see how shitty I am at racing games. Made a bunch of mistakes on this one. I was going for something lower than 2 minutes 1 second. I'm pretty sure that I can do it in 1 minute 58 seconds or something, but I didn't have the time. I had like IRL stuff happening, so I couldn't really record a run with lesser time.
And then
so generally,
Revenge is also on PS2 from the
PS2 and 360. Yeah.
Okay. The cat on the replay, it makes you look really go fast.
Yeah.
When it shows you just like going around the turn. Yeah, that is pretty funny. Like, and that's really like, I think Burnout was one of those games for a lot of people that clicked like with them for like a racing game. Like, is it just because it's really good at that sense of speed?
It's the sense of speed, and it handles pretty well. It's very arcadey. I think it doesn't even have analog controls. I'm not even sure about if it has. Yeah, I've never tried it on analog. I don't think I've seen anyone try it on analog as well. At least Revenge. Ghegs would be better actually. Does Bunout 2 have the analog thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because like in Revenge, even if I try with the analog stick, it's the same thing. It's just like full turn or nothing else. So even with analog, I had to tap. So I just used the D-pad for this. But the controls are very... Yeah.
Do you have an official DualShock or some third-party controller?
Official DualShock.
Okay, because I had noticed when I tried playing Burnout 2 once with a third-party controller, it did feel more digital, even with the analog sticks. And then when I switched to an official DualShock, it was much more responsive and much more analog-y.
Yep. So for me, then the analog didn't click. Maybe I'm not sure, but the thing is, controls are very simple. All you have is accelerate, brake, boost, left and right. That's really it. So the Burnout series is very easy to get into.
Nice, yeah.
I think that holds true for all arcade racers, or at least good arcade racers, that they're easy to get into, but to really master them and get the best results, you do need to practice and figure out the best techniques and how this particular game handles drifting or something like that.
I have played Revenge so much I can do like the tracks that I love, at least very, very drunk. And it's fun for showing off to friends.
Drunk driving simulator is
yep.
That's
my uncle actually used to. The normal race modes in this, they have like in Burnout Revenge at least, they have a bunch of cars and you have to do takedowns. So it's literally just making other cars crash. And one of my uncles used to call it the drunk driver simulator. He literally used to call it that.
Nice.
Only drink and drive when you're playing video games, people.
Yeah. Yep. Well, let out those, let those fantasies out in the game, not in real life. Anyway, moving on to next game is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and this is the 2010 Hot Pursuit game. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, because as I recall, the original was on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Which I remember playing, and actually I remember having a lot of fun with that game, with the cops chasing you and whatnot, and that game was a lot of fun back then. But then we have the 2010 version. Never seen this personally myself, and this is also a world record video.
Yeah, this is probably my best or my favorite Need for Speed game. Even though some people think it's much limited to some others because it doesn't have any story mode. You can't tune your cars in any way. But it's just you either choose whether you're a racer or you're a cop, and that's it. Then you just go through the campaign mode, so to speak.
Okay. All right, let's watch the replay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, this thing has a 30-second intro, I think.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, 30-35.
We can talk about the other Need for Speed games. I've played Most Wanted and Carbon the most, and NFS2 in an internet cafe when I was very young. I liked Most Wanted quite a lot, but Carbon went a little heavy with the story, and from what I know, the later games all became very story-driven than racing-driven.
Yeah, especially the run, which was story and quick time events, and with some racing here and there.
It's kind of weird.
Funny thing is, both Need for Speed and Bunout is from EA, but they feel so different. It's mostly because I think Bunout was handled by Criterion.
Okay, so what do we got going on here? I know it's going pretty fast there. 390 kilometers per hour. Is that what that's supposed to be?
Yeah.
That's like 200 miles or something. This is Need for Speed is mostly the controls are not very arcadey. It's like somewhere in between arcadey, completely arcadey, and completely simulation.
I see.
So it does have a little inertia. Like Burnout doesn't have any inertia to the cars at all. That means if you're quickly switching left and right, it doesn't like wobble like Need for Speed does. So you have to be much more careful in controlling your car in Need for Speed than Burnout, for example. And Need for Speed has that the traditional boost system where you earn boost by going fast, and you can't chain boosts in this. So you'll have to rely on where you want to use your boost, because most of the time you want to use it on straightaways because you can just like let everything go and just like go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like in Burnout, you can still charge the boost by racing AI cars and driving on oncoming lane.
I see. So it's like some of these racing games are just kind of like borrowing the mechanics from the other ones.
Well, this is from Criterion, who also developed Burnout games. So yeah,
Yep.
it's very similar for
Okay,
obvious
yeah.
reasons.
Most
Good
Wanted
point.
is a bit different from Hot Pursuit, I'm guessing then. Carbon is completely different from either of them.
Yeah. Here are the civilian cars again, and this time there's no way to turn them off, which is, again, kind of annoying for a time attack. But I really like this course. It's really fun. Lots of sharp corners and hairpins.
Looks like you're mostly going downhill too,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken here.
Yeah, downhill racing has a special place in our heart. It's mostly because of Initial D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quick. He it looked like he would know what he was doing. World record run there. Made it look smooth as hell.
Yeah, basically all you want to do is like execute your corners perfectly. Turn from the outside, hit the apex of the corner, then turn, brake in, accelerate out, hit the apex. Basically, that's all.
Do some of these racing games have like tutorials about how to drive efficiently?
I don't think I've ever seen something like that.
They just kind of
Even
like
me.
assume that you can kind of figure out to brake, to do a drift, or to shift down and that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, Burnout 2 has some tutorials, but it's, this is how you gather boost, and that's really basic stuff. You do need to figure some things out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even Revenge tells you like the basic how to gather boost, and I think a little blurb about drifting that you tap brake. That's it, really.
They try to keep it simple. That's good.
Yeah, it's basically get good. Play a lot, practice, and get good.
Yeah. All right, sweet. You did mention Criterion Games, so they like pretty much like one of the bigger developers out then of like the arcade racing genre. I mean, we're about to go on to some Sega stuff here, I know, but you want to talk a little bit about Criterion?
Well, they used to be big on racing games, but now they're doing the Star Wars Battlefront games.
Oh, okay.
The only racing series that I know them for is Burnout and maybe Hot Pursuit, really.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, we're going to move on to Daytona USA here. It's another video from Ghegs,
Yeah, mostly chosen because I was recording in HD probably. Because there's so much to talk about Daytona USA that we could probably fill an entire episode about it.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one, focus on one of these games. I know we are kind of skimming a lot of this and just trying to get a good idea of what's going on here, but...
Yeah, Daytona USA has this really intricate drifting mechanism based on downshifting and upshifting. It takes a bit of practice to really get it, but once you do and you start going through corners sideways, it just feels so good. And I was hoping we could get Deka over to this stream to talk about it, because he wrote this excellent guide that really helped me out when I was practicing it.
Oh, cool. Maybe we could get a link to that guide or something for people.
Yeah, it's on the Rolling Start forums.
Great, yeah, we'll have to plug that for people too.
Yeah. It's Daytona USA is a really in this way it's a really basic arcade game because there's only three tracks and one car, but each of the tracks is the first track is fairly simple, but two other tracks are pretty complex, and even though here I'm doing okay in the advanced course, I can't do anything in the expert because it's totally different beast. It's really difficult, and you need to really know the track inside out to be able to get anywhere without hitting walls constantly.
Yeah, I've played Daytona USA a bit myself, and it's just hard to actually even finish because the time is so tight as well.
Yeah.
So they kind of tailor it for just trying to do your best to try to get finished at least, and then I guess go from there. Because it's very arcadey, isn't it? I mean, it is.
Yes, this is an excellent example of an arcade racer game. It's easy to get into, but to master it'll take hundreds, thousands of hours. There are special advanced techniques I'm not even using here in this video because I can't pull them off.
Yeah, I thought it was at first I thought it was kind of weird that they only had the 3 tracks. So I was like, that's not much. But once you start playing it, you realize why, because it's like it requires that certain finesse with everything just to do it right.
Yeah. Somebody once said that the last corner in this advanced course has more depth to it than most racing games have in total.
Jesus. Okay.
No, I think it's a good description of the game.
Kind of the one. All right, let's check it out, and maybe you can kind of guide us through what you're doing in this as we're going through it this time.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay. I'll do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, right off the start, there's kind of a boost technique here that you can use by keeping the RPMs around 6,000 or 7,000 and then shifting properly. You can start with a slightly faster way.
Cool.
And right here in this first corner, there's an advanced technique where you kind of jiggle between turning and going straight, and it gives you a bit more acceleration. But it's only when you're really trying to get the last hundreds of seconds out of your time. So I don't bother with it.
And like a lot of stuff is like you start on the the corner or the right side, and then you kind of carve into the turns, right? We haven't really been talking about that basic idea, but I think that's in a lot of the racing games and just
out
racing
in
general.
out. Yeah,
that's called hitting the apex, and it's not only racing games, it's IRL racing as well.
Right. Hitting the apex. Cool.
Yeah, you start from the outside, you hit the apex on the inside, and then you finish on the outside.
It's basically what it tries to do is take the shortest route while turning the least.
I see.
So
over here on the last corner, you can actually do this really weird drift where you start on the inside. And I have no idea how it's done, but it saves you a lot of time, many seconds. But the best time I've seen for this course, it's 2 minutes and 52 seconds. So it's over about 6 seconds faster than my time.
Wow. Yeah, that turn is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, there are so many ways you can mess it up.
I think when I used to do it, I would go even to like gear 2, I think, and just go take it so slow drifting. Or I'd be like shifting from 2 to 3 to 2 to 3, and then.
Yeah, in this course, I think you can get away with just doing 4-2-4. When you're on gear 4, you downshift to 2 and then back to 4. But if you do it right, everything's good. But if you do it wrong, you just spin out. The timing is really precise.
I'm not really sure, but I think this track is in Ridge Racer 2.
Really?
Yeah,
you mean
a track which is
the PS1 game?
the PSP version. There is a track which is very similar to this.
Oh.
Extremely similar.
That's kind of weird, since this is Sega's game and Ridge Racer is Namco's.
Yeah, it's probably an homage or something, but the portions where the corridors are there with the windows on the left, that section is at the downhill, the right, left drift portion. That is, I think, exactly copied onto that track. I'll probably try to dig up that track later.
There's my crappy time there. I'm glad that was included. I did actually play Daytona USA for a bit at one point. Nice. Okay, so we're moving on. We're gonna move on to Ridge Racer 2. I think we touched on Daytona nicely there. Ridge Racer 2 on the PSP. I see Ghegs has published this video as well. We guys talk a little bit about this before we get into it, or?
Well, yeah. Well, I think everybody knows Ridge Racer, but I'm not sure if the PSP games are as well known.
Yeah, why the PSP game here?
Because it's actually a good game for a handheld.
Yeah, it's a really fun game, and it has the boost mechanic, which all Ridge Racer games after 5 have the boost mechanic, and basically you gather boost when you drift. But the faster you go, and depending on your angle, the more boost you collect. So you want to start your boosts so they finish right before a good corner. So once you go through the corner at full speed, you gather even more boost, and then you just repeat that.
Cool. I'm not as familiar with Ridge Racer at all myself. Actually, I don't think I've even really played them much, but so I'm kind of excited. Really want to try one of them. Like, what would you recommend for someone a Ridge Racer to play for their first one?
I really like Ridge Racer 5 myself. It has the classic tracks and good handling, good everything.
Okay. All right, let's check it out then. Oh, go ahead.
If you want something portable, you can always pick up Ridge Racer 2. This is also like, it has the classic tracks as well. It's compilation of, I think, Ridge Racer 1 and 2, I think. I'm not really sure, but it brings back most of the old tracks as well, plus new tracks, a lot more cars. Yeah, if you want to play something on the go, RR2 is the best one to pick up as well.
Cool. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this one then. 3, 2, 1, go.
Most of the runs in this video, this playlist is Ghegs, because he's the only one that actually like records all his runs in HD.
I do also sometimes play okay, but that's a secondary.
So we're in first person again here. Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, here you can see that the drift ends right before this corner, so I can maximize the resulting boost.
For this game, I prefer playing it in the third-person view because some of these turns are crazy, and I personally lose track of where the car is in relation to the turn in half of him. Also, Ridge Racer has this weird thing with the car. It kind of feels on rails because it's very hard to like hit the walls, or when you're hitting the walls to get back on the track.
Yeah, Ridge Racers aren't the most technical or difficult games, racing games out there, but they're still fun.
Yeah, they're extremely fun. I have played the PSP version for hours and hours and hours on end.
How did you take that one turn, that last really sharp turn so nicely there? It looked like you kind of bumped into the wall a little bit, you know, the one.
Yeah, I don't think any bumps were intended here. But usually in Ridge Racer games, you drift by just turning into a corner and letting go of the accelerator for a moment and then hitting it again.
Then
But in Ridge, yeah, then you just start drifting, and it's kind of like going on rails. But in the PSP games, there are different types of cars that start to drift differently. And I'm using a dynamic drift car here, which means I can just turn into a corner and eventually it'll start drifting on its own. So I don't have to let go of the accelerator ever.
Yeah, in this game you want to use the dynamic cars more often because you never have a need to hit brake ever. All you have to do is like tap your accelerator when you want to drift and keep chaining the boosts, nitros.
Nice Xevious car and Taro Jiraga.
Yeah, Namco loves putting references to their games.
The monitor is just like showing like the butt and whatnot.
Yeah, that was actually a Ridge Racer reference there. You can see the logo for a moment. And Ridge Racer was the second game in the series.
I think so. It's either second or third.
Yeah.
The PSP version has an amazing thing where you can take replays. It has a built-in jukebox, so you can start a replay and choose what songs you want to play. The tracks in this are amazing. They're very trippy, techno-y, happy techno. Sometimes even industrial. Yeah.
suppose we could bring up the Negicon real quick, because I actually did try the Negicon controller for Ridge Racer on the PlayStation when I was at one of the GDQ events. Someone brought a Negicon. Actually, it was Puri Puri. Shout out to Puri Puri. Yeah, that peripheral, right, was the one where you have like it's like a knob essentially that you can rotate with your thumb, or your thumb,
not your thumb really, kind of your whole hands.
Okay,
it's in the middle of the controller.
Oh yeah. That was it. And I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, back when the PS1 was being designed, it didn't have any analog capabilities, so Namco stepped up and, well, they wanted to port their arcade game Ridge Racer to the PS1, but they also wanted analog controls for it, so they decided to design and publish a whole controller for it. And until the first DualShock controller came out, it was the only way to get analog controls in games.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Surprisingly, the PlayStation already had the protocols for Negicon when it was released. So I'm not sure what happened first. Was the controller released first, like along with the PlayStation 1?
Yeah, pretty soon after. So they must have made some deal with Sony so they got some information from Sony about the console and its protocols, and they were able to create the controller.
Yeah, I think because I said thumb because I think that's how Puri Puri was trying to play with it before, and then I think I naturally went to use just, I think I was holding the controller in the right hand and the gas button or whatever, and then you just use your left hand to just control the knob. And I was like, oh, this is how you do it, and they're like, it's not that good. I was like, oh, this is how you do it. You just use the whole hand.
Yeah.
And where it works really well. It's actually quite fun. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and people still, especially people who play Wipeout, there are many still insist on using the Negicon.
I wonder how much those go for nowadays.
They're not terribly expensive, like maybe $30-40.
Okay.
I saw a bunch of them for $20 with shipping.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I do recommend picking one up if you want to race on the PS1.
Nice.
And with some adapters, you can even use it on PC.
It works on the PS2 as well, right?
Yeah, on the PS2 as well. But there aren't as many games on the PS2 that support it.
All right, so we're moving on to Ridge Racer 5 arcade, and this is actually an in-arcade video.
Yep.
From someone, I believe it's a Japanese racer in Japan.
Yeah,
arcade.
his last name is Miruki, so.
And he's wearing this white glove, I see, maybe to not get germs on his hands and whatnot.
I think it's for grip.
For grip?
Yeah, he's racing gloves.
That's how you know he's serious. So Ridge Racer 5 arcade.
It's pretty interesting that Ridge Racer 5 even got an arcade release. It's a bit different from the PS2 game. Or so I understand anyway.
Released in 2000, around that time, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into it then, and we'll see. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I included this because it shows off a lot of the techniques. You can see him doing some crazy turns as well. And it's just cool. The guy just shows up in white gloves for it. So this guy actually bought in a camera to record his run. Like how a lot of us have heard about shmups, like people bringing in cameras and arcades to record their runs. This is pretty much it.
I like how there's a timer on top of the screen that shows how far ahead or how far behind you are of the other best time.
Oh wow, cool. That is nice. That's really cool. I've never seen that before, actually.
Yeah, even I haven't seen this kind of a timer in a game. I don't think the port has that timer, does it?
Sorry?
Does the PS2 port have this timer as well?
No, it doesn't.
He's not going crazy with the wheel or anything. It looks like he's doing fairly controlled movements here.
You can easily see him do the counter steer. So counter steering is when you go into a turn and you start drifting. If you start turning your wheel towards the turn, towards the corner, inside the corner, you're actually going to spin out. So what you need to do is, as soon as you turn into the corner, you have to start turning out of the corner, and you have to align your wheels to the way the corner is turning to have a clean exit.
Yeah, that's in some different racers and stuff, right? That technique.
It's in all races. If it's anything in, I think it's in all arcade races. It's an IRL technique as well. It's used a lot in rally racing.
It's really satisfying to do that, isn't it? Too.
Yeah, it is.
It's maybe at very first it's kind of hard to kind of understand the concept, but once it clicks, it's really cool, I think.
Yeah, executing a clean drift across a corner is one of the most satisfying feelings in a racing game.
Yeah.
It's cool how the racing games are so close to the IRL style, essentially.
Yeah.
It has some type of base in reality, which is interesting. Because they are arcadey games, but they're also on that borderline simulator, and some of the races are more simulator than arcade and others, and it's for a reason. It's because that's how it is. Pretty cool.
Yeah, but there is kind of a huge gap between arcade racers and sim racers. Sim racers tend to consider anything that's not completely realistic to just be arcade-like. Or at least that's my impression.
For me, where's the fun in that? I'm playing a video game. I want to do cool, crazy shit that I can't do in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have racing games that have laser-scanned tracks and everything. It's just going to be more realistic as we go. Well, we can't manufacture T-forces, but otherwise. And eventually there will be a game that has realistic tracks with as realistic handling as can be, and what's there to go on from there?
I mean, sim races do have their place. Some people prefer feeling the exact same thing they feel when they're driving their car on the road. But then again, for me, I don't get any fun out of it. I've tried one simulation racer at a friend's place, F1 2013 or 12 or maybe something. But yeah, I didn't get any fun out of it. I just went back and played Burnout Revenge at home.
Okay. Let's move on to the next game here. We're going to Sega Rally 2006. Says here, Japanese PS2 exclusive racer from Sega.
Yeah. Everybody knows the original Sega Rally. But I don't think many people know this one because it was only released in Japan and only on the PS2. Because it's a weird...
Oh, Ghegs, let me interrupt you. Could you reconnect to the Discord call? You're starting to break out quite a bit here.
Okay, hang on.
Hopefully that'll help out a little bit. Welcome back.
Okay, hello. Is it any better?
Not really, but...
It's slightly clearer. A little bit clearer than before.
Well, that's a bummer.
We'll manage. You're still understandable. Just wanted to see if we could try to fix that.
Okay.
I'm gonna lower my bit rate just in case it's on my end or anything. Carry on though.
Yeah, it's a shame that most people don't know this one because it's a really good game, really fun. And it even had a special version that came with a perfect port of the original arcade game.
Oh, neat. So like
Yeah.
Sega Rally games are pretty much like characterized by like the guy who announces the turns as you come up to them with
Yeah.
with like vague and somewhat descriptive phrases. Medium right maybe.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I always thought that the rally games are really fun. They try to let you know ahead of time what's going on with the turn, so it really eases you into learning the tracks. I feel like, and
Yeah.
you gotta listen to.
The funny thing is, like this game, I think I introduced it to Ghegs because he hadn't played it before, and I had it. I picked up a bootleg of it at a flea market, maybe something like 10 years back, and it was still hanging around. And I picked it up and I started playing it. This game is hard. It's really hard. The first couple of arcade series is easy, the first two, but after that, it starts getting real hard, real fast.
Yeah, this is the Force arcade series, which actually recreates the courses from the original Sega Rally. And it took me several hours before I could even finish the courses because the time limit is really strict.
Let's go to 2 minutes on that video, by the way, since the beginning's just title screen.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll cut this one in half too. We'll see how we feel. It's a bit of a longer video.
Yeah, we can leave out the replay.
Time.
Oh, the replay, gotcha. Okay, if you guys are at 2 minutes, we'll jump into it here. Sounds like we're good. All right.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Like how I do the countdown and then like they always do the countdown in the fucking game.
The handling in this is it's again very different from all the other games that I've played. It's a little finicky, but like once you get a hang of it, it's really smooth as well.
Like slippery, isn't it?
Not slippery exactly. The turns can be difficult to get used to turning in this game. I think for me that's how I feel about it. But like once you get used to it, it's like pretty silky smooth.
This one I actually play with the PS2 wheel. It feels really good.
I like how the announcer tells you good job.
Good job. Is there any like good rule of thumb for like when to shift up and that type of thing from game to game? Or
You just
do it,
get
like, when
used to it.
When you know, or when the indicator is there. Just get used to it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you have to get a feel for the game. There's no like hard and fast rules that you have to do it a certain way. But like as you play, as you practice, you get used to the things that you do that make it yours. That's the funny thing about time attacks as well. You can't just like pick up a replay and just copy everything off it, because you'll have to internalize the lines that you're going to follow in the track.
Yeah, you have to understand why the guy is doing what he's doing.
Ooh.
In this game, it's very easy to mess up and just go hit the wall, the guardrails or sides of the track. Now you can't afford to hit the cars in front of you, because even a slight bump actually slows you down a lot. And in probably the first arcade series or the second series, it's kind of okay to hit things, but like as it goes on, it gets extremely difficult. Like if you hit things, because it slows you down enough. You lose about maybe a second or so from each bump.
Is that basically a thing, like in all the Sega Rally games, like touching the walls and the cars does just slow you down like a significant amount?
Yeah.
Kind of what I felt like, because I mostly played Sega Rally Revo personally on the 360, and I really liked that game.
Yeah, Revo is fun.
But the campaign got really fucking hard, and I gave up. I don't know how the hell I could do that anymore.
You just practice. A lot of fun.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I it was really tough. I'll have to go back to it someday.
Racers have like restart syndrome as well.
What was happening is like, I was like making like one mistake, and then like I was just losing, because of that, like losing a lot of speed at one point or whatever it may be. Like, maybe you guys could talk a little bit about like just the restart syndrome, or like how punishing the runs can be, because I felt like that was kind of a thing that it was just like one mistake was really, it was hard to get everything perfect, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of depends on the game. There are some games where I restart within the first 15 seconds if I can't do an early corner just right.
Maybe Daytona.
Well, kind of Daytona, yeah, but one game we're going to be looking at later, it's a good example.
Okay.
Most of these tracks, they'll have one decisive corner. If you mess up on that corner, it's basically a restart, because it's usually a sharp corner or a very long corner that you have to effectively like execute perfectly. And if you mess it up, most of the time it's just a restart. It can be right at the first 10 seconds. It can be right at the end of the game also, end of the track. It's a shame that Sega, I'm not sure if they're still making Sega Rally. I don't think so they're making it anymore.
No.
Sega Rally, maybe.
There is that new Daytona USA, but it hasn't been getting many good reviews.
Sorry, what was the game you mentioned, Ghegs?
New Daytona USA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, a lot of indie devs, they are making racers as well. And some of them are pretty unique. Ghegs actually plays a lot of them.
Yeah, well, there are arcade racers still being made, but it's games like the initial V games and Cruise and Blast came out some time ago. There's something called Storm Blast G and H2 Overdrive, but they're not getting any ports, which is a shame. But over on PC and consoles, it's mostly indie developers who are developing arcade racers nowadays.
Speaking of arcade racers, our next game is Outrun Arcade. The classic from Sega and Yu Suzuki, one of his few the trifecta arcade games he made back then with Space Harrier and Hang On.
Yeah.
Afterburner, I guess, is the other one. And Outrun, this is an amazing game. I love it.
Yeah, and this is a really amazing run. Really high-class play here.
Oh, awesome.
I don't think many people know you can play Outrun like this.
Yeah, it has bonus footage as well on the left-hand side.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. So yeah, just a quick thing about Outrun. I mean, yeah, you have like you only have your low and your high gear. And like you shift to the high gear like around like 160 kilometers per hour, and pretty much same type of stuff. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you usually do. But in this video, there's some high-level techniques where you're constantly shifting up and down.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, let's take a look at it. 3, 2, 1, go.
The funny thing is, I've not really like invested a lot of time in Outrun. And the only time I played it is with an arcade stick.
Oh wow, there's the footage on the left. Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome. Oh whoa. What?
Yeah.
This is some high-level technique.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's called gear gotcha. And it's basically exploiting some bug in the game engine where you can drive off-road faster than you normally can.
So did he like activate a glitch in the beginning there? Is that what he did? Or is he doing something else?
Yeah, something else as well. What he did in the beginning gives him a slightly higher top speed, and you can see he's shifting up, down, and up every so often, and that allows him to go off-road and not lose any speed.
What the? He's not losing any speed. It looks like he's just locked in at 294. But you're saying the shifting is actually keeping him okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn. What the hell? What the hell?
I kind of arranged this playlist to go from like normal hype to full hype and hyper.
Hyper. Whoa, he's like glitching the fucking horizon almost, it looked like there. That didn't look right. So he's gonna memorize like all these like tree weaving and whatnot he's doing here.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure how the traffic is generated. I'm not sure if there's some RNG, if there's some patterns you can exploit.
But
He's
I think
not on the road.
the trees and whatnot though are always in the same place.
Yeah, I think he's avoiding all the traffic just by being off-road. And he's probably memorized the positions of the trees as well.
So it looks like once he does the like a shift thingy, he can go off road and then just stay in max speed.
Yeah, for a while. Then he has to do it again.
That's wild.
It's funny to watch, actually.
You're supposed to lose a lot of speed on that off road.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you are sounding better, Ghegs. Yeah, I cleared up.
Okay, good. I just keep imagining what if this technique had been found when the game was new in arcades. It must have looked insane when somebody did it first.
Yeah, this video is published 2013.
Outrun Original was released way back, I think.
86.
86, I think, yeah.
86, yeah. This game is older than I am.
It's classic. Like, this game is great because it still looks awesome and plays awesome. Like, I still play it every now and then. And just Yu Suzuki had a great idea with like that, like this style of game with the kind of like the gradient skies, and just was able to get a cool sense of speed as well that really stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
He actually said in an interview once that he doesn't consider Outrun to be a racing game, but a driving game.
A driving game rather than a racing game?
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa!
Oh, he messed up.
What is he trying to do?
Okay.
You're trying to set up the glitch again, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
that would be my guess. Yeah.
What the hell? That crash really threw me off there. It kind of scared me.
I understand that this gear changing technique is really harmful on actual cabinets
Oh,
because you constantly have to do it.
yeah. This is a sit-down cabinet, but they're like this. I typically see the standing ones. I've seen a couple. Actually, got a couple that I actually can go to here in Minnesota here, which is pretty cool. And they work. I got a fun outrun story. Like I was at this like convention called 2DCon, and they had an outrun cabinet, and like I was playing it, and I was like trying to beat it because I never once CC'd it on an actual cabinet before. And throughout the weekend, there was like one other guy who was actually playing it, and we were kind of like competing with scores and whatnot, but we never actually met each other. And at the end of the weekend, I actually finally I got the 1cc and I beat his score on there, and I was just like, "Fuck you, whoever you are." It's like kind of like one of those arcade moments that, I mean, just because it was in a convention, I got to experience like that kind of like arcade moment there. But I never actually got to meet the guy. Obviously, it would have been cool to have met him, but I didn't actually see him. And then I finally beat him, but it was like the one other guy who actually knew like what he was doing basically in the game, which isn't really too hard to figure out, honestly. Like, it's pretty intuitive, Outrun, I think. But you do need practice, obviously. Okay, so that was really awesome. Let's move on to Outrun 2 SP Time Attack.
Yeah, this is actually a compilation of many different runs made by the same player.
Okay, neat.
Yeah, it's the same player from the last run, but it's mostly compilation of Outrun 2 SP. I think this is the same as the Coast to Coast and the online arcade as well, right?
It has the same base, yeah, but there are some differences, at least in the course selection.
Okay, let's check it out then. 3, 2, 1, go. On to the 3D Outrun here.
Yeah. I included this video because he shows off a lot of techniques, how to initiate drifts and keep drifts going.
Yeah, you can see what great control he has right here at the start when he's just hugging through the corners.
This game's really fun too, and unfortunately you can't get an Xbox Live Arcade anymore, which is the only place you can get it.
Yeah, but you can still get the PC version of Outrun Coast to Coast.
Oh, okay.
It's really cheap to acquire too.
Okay, great. Then we still can play this in some capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, you can even play it multiplayer if you use something to play it on a local area network.
But the fist shake there was great.
Yeah.
Now he brings
What
on
a
the
badass.
drifting.
Yeah, Nasty Wolverine, you guys messed up. We don't have American 18-wheeler, and we don't have big rigs, and we don't have big mother truckers either. What were you guys thinking? Anyway.
That's for the next AGR showcase, Truck Driver Simulator.
Yeah. Onto the truck side. Big mother truckers.
Or we'll start playing Euro Truck Simulator and sit in traffic for 8 hours.
Yeah, that'll be a good episode.
In this, you can clearly see him. That was the Scandinavian flick.
Yeah, that's kind of intense, isn't it?
Yep. He's shaking the arcade cabinet, by the way.
So it's like so deliberate, it looks like. Like 1, 2, 3, it's just fucking in there.
This is pretty mesmerizing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, exterior's kind of seems to be implying maybe like it's like tip the cabinet over or something. It's like, oops, we tipped the cab. That'd be some really aggressive driving. I crashed the cab.
Maybe the cab should have a tilt.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pinball machines.
Danger.
That was a neat drift.
Jesus. That looked godlike at the end there.
Yep.
Wow. Very cool, very cool.
So
Okay.
this is how we play time attacks anyway, but the only difference is we do it on a D-pad or a controller rather than actually a wheel. Ghegs pretty sure does it on a wheel also.
Yeah, it depends on the game, yeah.
Have you ever actually tipped a table doing it?
No, I haven't.
Alright, so we're moving on to initial D then.
Yep.
Anything you want to preface initial D a little bit here?
Go watch Initial D.
Yeah. I'm sad to say I've never actually played an Initial D arcade game. Because we don't have them here.
There are only two Initial D games released on console. One is for PS2, is called Initial D Special Stage. The other one is for PS3.
There's also the PSP version.
Oh, neat. Well, let's take a look then. I'll do countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice footage here. 60 FPS camera footage.
The graphics in this game look amazing. And this is 6AA. Right now they're up to 8. Stage 8 Infinity and Stage 0 as well. Stage Zero was released in March 2017.
Wow. Still one of the most popular racing arcade games. Would you say
I'm
Initial
pretty
D
sure
is
this
the
is
most popular one?
probably Ridge Racer or like in actual arcade, probably Ridge Racer or maybe even Outrun. But Initial D is the one that still keeps making games.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So right,
And each of the version is kind of different. I know the version 2 was considered the pinnacle of the series by many.
Dude, any of the Initial D arcade games have that part from the anime where they fucking like ascend the fucking side of the cliff? You remember that part?
where they go off the cliff.
Yeah, they like ride off like the edge of a cliff onto the track again.
Like in the Irohasaka course.
Yeah.
And it was
I think you can do it.
It was like mind blowing.
I think in one of the games I've seen, I was watching somebody stream it, and they you could actually do it in that.
Damn.
You could jump. You can turn early, and like instead of taking the road down the thing, just like skip the entire thing and jump off
Jesus, yeah.
into the track ahead.
Oh, damn. Wow, what a turn there. That was crazy. Man, this is too high level for me right now.
Yeah, these games have a lot of many special techniques that I really can't explain because I've only read about them.
This is way too intense. And he did it in an A86. Hachiroku.
Almost got at the end. The more you force it, the faster it seems to be going. Only off by that much.
Awesome. Oh, we're moving along here. All right. Yeah, we're moving along. All right. So next up is a game called Side by Side.
Yeah.
Never heard of this one.
Nobody's
It's
ever
my-
heard of it.
Yeah, it's my favorite racing game of all time. It started out in the arcades as Side by Side, then it changed its name to Battle Gear, and it's basically Initial D without the official license. The same cars, same courses, and there are even some very direct Initial D references here and there.
Neato. What's
This is-
You said PlayStation. This is PlayStation 1 or what do you say?
This is PlayStation 1, yeah,
Okay.
and only released in Japan. And you need the Neshikon to get analog controls out of it.
Oh, this looks really fun.
Yeah, this is really fun. I've played the game for maybe 100 hours or so, and the Akina downhill track maybe 60 hours in this one game alone, which may not sound much when you consider that shmup players can play the same game for 300, 500 hours. But this is one single course that lasts under 3 minutes, and you can fit many of those ones into 60 hours.
Man, that's like a whole different level of just precision, essentially.
Yeah, I call it a world record because I've been unable to find any better times for it, but I'm pretty sure there's some Japanese player that has a better time. So if anybody knows it, please let me know. There is a video on YouTube that's 2 seconds faster, but it's actually a tool-assisted speedrun.
All right, let's watch the video from the beginning here. All right, 3.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Side by side.
So what Ghegs has done here is the left-hand side is the actual game that he's playing, and the right-hand side is the replay, and he synced them both together to the school format, which looks really cool.
Nice. Does that have anything to do with the fact the game's called Side by Side?
No, it was just a fun pun that works.
Had to ask.
Yeah.
This game might not look much, but when you start playing it, it's very engrossing. I have been playing it like for the last year or so, and I've already put in maybe like good 10-20 hours just into this track alone.
Wow. Do you use an Edgicon, or do you just play with the analog?
I play with the D-pad.
Or the D-pad, I mean. Cool.
The few times I've tried this game with the D-pad, I can't do anything. I'm absolutely useless with it. I need the Edgicon here.
The Edgicon really is cool. Good.
If you haven't guessed it, this is the initial lead track, Akina, Mount Akina. Is exactly the same track that's on the show, turn by turn.
Wow, okay, cool. That thudding noise.
Yeah, it's actually faster sometimes to let the front of your car to hit the inside of a corner. It doesn't hurt your speed much, but it lets you take some corners a bit tighter.
Ghegs makes it look like super smooth, but just to give an idea of how hard it is to execute this track, it took me about 2 hours to actually get to the finish line. Because this is an arcade-style racer and you have the time clicking out on top. So if the time runs out, it's game over basically.
I like the this perspective here is a little bit more tangible for me, because you can see a lot and like your car is kind of small too.
Yeah.
This looks like it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. There is a first-person view or a bumper view, but because the game is old and the texture quality isn't the best, so it looks just really muddy and unclear when you're playing it on that one.
Would you play it on first person if it looked better?
Maybe, if it felt good, but here I can just see exactly where my tires are, what my car's position and angle is.
Yeah.
It's really important to know.
This game is actually very technical. You have what I feel like 1/10 of a second windows to execute some of the braking and turns.
Jeez.
Congratulations.
Like the first turn in this game is a run killer. You sometimes either get it or you don't get it, and it just ruins your run if you don't get it. You just have to restart basically if you don't get the first turn right.
Yeah. You don't want to drift on it. It's possible to take it completely by gripping the road at all times, but it's really hard to do.
Okay, let's continue moving on here. So this is now a game called Battle Gear 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the sequel to Side by Side.
Oh, okay.
And again, Akina Downhill, because I love the course.
And this is also on PlayStation 2. Okay.
Yeah, this is on PlayStation 2. I think I played this one with the wheel. I think Akina is just a great track because it's the perfect length, and that there are no boring parts to it, and each corner has this distinct feel to it. So the whole course has it's almost like there's a personality to it.
That's cool.
It's just really fun to drive on.
There are like only 2 spots in the entire track that you can actually rest. Otherwise, it's just like one turn after the other. If you have to prepare from one turn to the other. If you mess up a little bit of the preparation, you're gonna hit the guardrail.
Awesome. All right, let's watch it. This is think you got the replay in here as well. We might skip that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the same series as the last game, side by side. It started being called Battle Gear after that. This is Battle Gear 3. There is also Battle Gear 4, but it's only arcade.
Yeah, Battle Gear 2 also got a PS2 release. And it was even released in Europe under the name Tokyo Road Race.
Extruder in the chat is asking what would be the most realistic game on the playlist.
That's
It's a very
tough
hard question.
Yeah.
I think this would qualify Battle Gear 3 because the physics in this is not as arcadey as the other ones.
Yeah, maybe this one or maybe Flatout.
Yeah. The funny thing is that even though we have access to Battle Gear 2 and 3, which have better graphics, we prefer, I think everybody on Rolling Start Farm prefers the SBS side by side more than 3. At least
Yeah.
I prefer it that way.
Yeah, me too. But I think a part of it might also be because it's easier to emulate side by side than either of 2 or 3.
Yeah, that might be as a reason as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just been at doing this episode. I feel like I've just been at the arcade, like just standing over people's shoulders, just watching awesome runs. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you can't have that kind of an experience at home nowadays, sadly. And arcades, most of them are either stocked with medal games or hoop games and things like that.
Yeah, there's some racing games definitely still around at some of the arcades now, like GameWorks and stuff like that, which is nice. And then it's like racing, and then there's like the rail shooters,
Light gun games.
the light guns, which is okay, but all the classics are gone and whatnot. No Mushi. No Flying Shark. Gotta go to, I guess, specifically retro arcade if you want to find stuff like that. In the States, anyways. Which they are around here and there.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of that. There's this movie theater near my workplace that has Sega Rally 3
Oh, really?
and H2 Overdrive. And I've gone in a few times and played those.
Oh, awesome. It's something, right?
It's something, yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty smooth there. I'll watch the replay a little bit here. I want to see how it looks.
This is more of the, as I said, this looks very realistic, as in, is not exactly Simulation Racer, but closer to Simulation Racer than any of the other games that we have on the playlist.
How can you tell it's like really more like a simulation? Would you say what's like the big thing about that makes it realistic? Is it like the braking or how it slows you down a lot or what?
For me, it's the inertia of the car. There is a certain inertia to it. And like, let's say for example, Bunout, you can execute turns very quickly just by tapping brakes. But in this, it's a little harder to execute any of the drifts. You have to be extremely deliberate to get the drifts right.
I like these corner camera angles. Pretty classy. Really shows off the drift there. Ooh. Just like the anime.
Well, we
Alright.
have the anime run coming up next.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, let's get ready here for the next one. Okay, so back to side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was just a fun little side project running like in a downhill with Hachiroku. The one bad thing about side by side is that it doesn't differentiate between car classes at all. It stores all the best times in the same table. So, and there's just no way the Hachiroku can beat any of the faster cars in the game. But it's really fun to drive. It's a bit slower, but it corners better than most of the other cars. So you can your lines change a bit, your braking points change a bit. It's just kind of a whole different feel to it.
Yeah, for me, it feels like a completely different track with the 86 and the RX-7. The RX-7, you can like execute drifts pretty fast, but in the 86, you just have to brake as less as possible. If you can like completely cut out the brakes also, it would be better.
Let's watch the video then. From the zero here. 3, 2, 1, go.
Side by side.
This is extremely hard. It took me about 2 hours to like finish the track with the RX-7, at least like get to the finish point. With the 86, I think it took even a little bit longer. But I was already used to playing the game, so it was like not 2 hours, but it still took much more time than I thought it would take.
I think I saw you select automatic transmission there.
Yeah, on the Neshikon, the transmission controls are kind of uncomfortable to use, so I just use the automatic transmission here.
In this game, the auto transmission is pretty good, so you don't really have to worry much about it.
That's nice. We didn't really touch too much on manual versus automatic in the various games, but you know, it does differ game to game, right? So
Yeah, and in some games you absolutely need to use manual transmission if you want to get anywhere, like with Daytona USA or the Outrun games.
right. Isn't it like Daytona? You don't even hit max speed in automatic or something like that?
Yeah. The MT versions of the cars have a slightly higher top speed.
Extended time.
Well, the other thing is that in the, if you remember in the anime that you can actually hug the gutter and go. Like there
Yeah.
are portions in the anime, yeah, he just puts the front wheel in the gutter and just turns by it. Not in this particular track, but there are a few tracks in this game that you can actually do that, and it's a beneficial technique.
Crazy.
Yeah, you can do it a bit here too, but I'm not sure just how beneficial it is. Yeah, but this same game also has Akagi downhill and uphill from all. That's also in Initial D.
This game has one track which, the winter stage, that will test your patience to hell and back. So it's basically an entire stage without traction at all. So you're just sliding around. You have to drift through probably 90% of the stage.
Yeah, and backwards sometimes. It's
Yeah.
really hilarious.
Wait, going back backwards.
Yeah, almost. But it's a really good practice because once you get through the stage, that course, you really get how the cornering mechanics work in this game.
here's Takumi coming in for that final corner.
Yeah, when I was like kind of like 18, around 18 years old, like a lot of my friends were into Initial D and stuff, and they fucking get the fucking Euro pop playing in when they're driving around and all that, and good times.
We saved the best racing game for the last, the ultimate racing game.
All right, yeah, we got the meme run at the end here. So this video is titled Wheel Ruga. Guessing that's a pun on Ikaruga.
Yeah, only afterwards I realized that I should have called it E-Car Ruga, but oh well.
So you're gonna try to play Ikaruga with a wheel. It looks like here is what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look here. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is kind of silly.
Yeah, this was, I don't know why I did this, I just thought it would be fun.
You got the wheel right. You gotta just try it out sometime.
Yeah.
How are the controls mapped in this? Like, how did you map it?
I think I used the Xpadder program.
Okay, I meant the directions. How are they mapped? Like up and down?
Up and down are in the pedals.
Oh wow.
All right.
Yeah, acceleration is upwards and brake is downwards.
The left and right is obviously on the wheel.
Yeah. And then the shooting and the polarity change is in the gear shift stick.
The gear shift for the polarity.
Yeah.
So would you say? I mean, I'm guessing it works. Half decently, right?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, you're doing some chains here. The horn shoots out the lasers. Got the subtitles coming through here.
Yeah, I'm not very good at Ikaruga. Even less so with a wheel.
Yeah. Well, so this is kind of nice because we can see like what a wheel setup looks like on a desk here as well. It looks like a nice little setup there. Does it just kind of clamp onto the desk, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy to take off and put on again.
Do they come with a clamp?
Yeah.
Okay. It's nice. Should have done Turbo Force if you knew that. That
Yeah.
shmup. the shmup
Yeah, I
where you
know.
drive a car around.
Yeah.
Or fly a car around, excuse me. So that's a really pretty silly game. Alright, can you beat the first stage boss here? I don't think you died. Did you die
Apparently-
yet? I don't think you died, right?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
He died once near
Oh.
the big enemies with the laser shooting out the side.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. It's been a while. When did I make this? 2014.
According to Extrudex, Bananamatic has one alt, Dodonpachi, with a steering wheel too.
Crazy people.
Apparently it's a thing.
No,
Nope,
and
you
I
can't beat it.
No.
But the concept is there. Anyway, thanks for that. And that's the last of our videos. How about that?
That's kind of as I predicted, 2 hours and all.
Yeah, we're just about 2 hours here, so this has been pretty fun. I think we got a good taste of some various arcade racers and stuff. It's been really fun, and I think anyone who watches this will definitely be interested in trying art racing games out if they never did.
Yeah,
And not even that.
please
but
come over to Rolling Start and time at these games with us.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Rolling Start forum? It's just a forum for racing game fans, basically.
Yeah, it's basically what. Well, I'm hoping it will eventually be something like Shmups comics for Shmups and Shoryuken.com for fighting games, because there really isn't a place online where arcade racing gamers can come together. There are forums and sites for particular games or series, but not for all of them.
Yeah, I think the website's been around for a while now. Do you have some good amount of members now? Has it gained popularity over time?
Slowly.
Yeah.
It's been. We just had our 5-year anniversary actually last month. Yeah, and in a few weeks we'll be starting our second annual top 5 racing games of all time
Fun.
poll. So come over and cast your votes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Have you gathered any of the higher class players? Have they found the forum?
Some have, yeah. Deka, who is awesome at Daytona USA, he's been there, and we got some Singaporean player a few years ago who is just amazing at Daytona USA as well.
Great, because I think that's if you can get some of the higher class players, they're probably going to tell the other players that they're playing with.
Yeah,
we got a
exactly.
place we can go to, and then you can actually start getting these strategies and stuff spread out, and
hopefully people will find it and come over.
Yeah, great. Rolling Start, awesome. I'll have a link for that for sure. But yeah, this has been pretty awesome.
It was fun, yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah,
It
good
was
to
a
have
fun
you.
episode today.
Glad we could finally do this. I know this was in the works for a good while now, and I mean, it's just like we said before, shmups and even speedruns and other types of rhythm games, etc. So just another genre where you can really dedicate yourself and get really fucking good at these races. And we've seen that here.
Yeah.
And they're just a lot of fun. Just a pure genre, just like shoot 'em ups too. In any case, I think that's gonna wrap it up then for Awesome Game Replays episode number 20. Go play some Daytona. It's calling out to you. That's really all there is to it. So yeah, till next time, everyone. See ya.
Thank you for watching. Next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Take care.